Hi everyone, Tom Vogel, Wrestling's Finest PC Pro Wrestling game. I'm continuing on my probably going to be 4 or 5 video series on new features of version 3. I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support for version 3, and I hope you're really enjoying it. I know Gary and I were very excited to get it released. We had a lot of fun putting it together, and as I previously mentioned, it was a 3.5 year off and on project, so it was nice for it to finally see the light of day. In my previous video, we talked about some of the new features, and we're going to continue that in this one. Always forget stuff, and when you get done, you always kick yourself you didn't mention it. It was regarding our new match we had. It's called the Big Man match. You'll see it right here. There's 31 wrestlers in there, and anytime both wrestlers you use are from that file, you should definitely use the Big Man match. And as I previously said, it's the exact same match as the classic match. It's just timed what used to be our old timing system, half of that. So before, if you had like a 32-minute match between John Studd and King Kong Bundy, it would now be 16. Now, where you have your discretion is if one wrestler is used from the Big Man file and the other wrestler is not, I would still use the Big Man match unless it's a title match and either the Big Man is a heel, then I would use defend the title, or if the Big Man is not the champion, he's the challenger, and the champion, let's say it's Ric Flair, and he's a heel champion, I would still use defend the title. To me, that trumps out everything. The champion status does. But other than that, I would use the Big Man setting. Now, specialty matches are already timed shorter, so I'm not worried at all about those. It was previously in the classic style. The match times just went way too long, in my opinion. So, got that out of the way. First thing we're going to talk on this one, I believe on this video, we're going to have, I think, 4 topics. First one, title matches. This is huge for me. This was a big point of emphasis on version 3. I want title matches to get a little bit more spotlight, just a little bit more clarity in certain things. And one of those areas is distinguishing between a title match and a world title match. So I'm going to explain this here. As you see on your screen, I selected my Georgia file. Bob Armstrong is going to challenge the Masked Spoiler, who is my national heavyweight champion. So I've selected my 2 wrestlers. So now what I'm going to do is, since Spoiler is a heel champion, we're going to use defend the title. Now, in this section here, you click either world title match or title match if it applies, and it does. So I'm going to go title match. Then when I come down here, I am going to select, I think Gary changed this now that I look at it. I think he bolded the champion, and he also bolded or changed the time color, no time limit, or no limit in champion. I think he changed the background color. See, he sneaks stuff in there, and I just don't always catch it. So anyway, like it. So we're going to click champion. Then we are going to go, we're going to set time limit. I'm going to go 60. So you'll see it says 60 minutes here. I'm sure he changed that, by the way. So now I have my settings, and now what I decide is, do I want to use the computer to control them, which I probably will, and then we'll get through this match. But essentially, what's the difference now? Well, there's a couple. When you select title match or world title, and if the challenger is a face wrestler, like it is here, Bob Armstrong, face wrestler, right here, tells you. What that means is tourney DQ rules will automatically go on for Bob Armstrong. I know in the past I always told people, be sure you check tourney DQ rules, but I think a lot of people hurry through stuff. They just want to get to the match. They don't want to take the time to learn all this stuff. And I'm similar like that in other games, so it's not like I'm criticizing, but from a designer, you do wish people would slow down a little bit. So now it's already taken care of for you. If it's a heel challenger, it will not automatically select tourney DQ rules. You can if you want on the main game screen, and I'll show that to you later. Somebody asked me, well, at one point I said faces got DQ'd in title matches more than we thought, which is true. But keep in mind the version 3 tourney DQ rules, they are different now. It's 10 numbers off your range, but your rating does not change. So yeah, you're going to have less chances you're going to get to the DQ chart because of the -10, but once you get there, your DQ rating is no longer adjusted. So it's going to work real well. So for now, let's go ahead and click champion or computer controls both. I am going to make the pre-match attack never because I don't want it to happen. Sorry if that was off the screen, but there's a little drop down there. So now we're going to click OK, and this will take us to the game screen. Now I'm going to resize this, so give me just a minute here. Okay, now when we get back to the game screen, a pop-up automatically appears. It's whenever you select title match, world title match, and defend the title, you're going to get a pop-up asking who's going to use the defend the title. Well, now you'll notice from the old version we took out the option even to select the face. You just basically select the spoiler. So you're going to click OK. You're going to accept, and now you'll see champion heel. And if you go up here match details, you'll notice the DQ reduction's always on for both wrestlers. That never changes. So we're going to click cancel, but if you look here, tournament DQ rules, voila, it's automatically been set for Bob Armstrong because it's a title match or world title match. He's the challenger and he's a face, so it automatically kicks in. You would rarely, if ever, click tourney DQ rules for the champion, especially a heel. So we're good to go on that. Now, what's going to happen here is, give me just a second to check. Okay, I went ahead and played this match just so we could get to the end of it so you could see what occurred, and it turned out to be kind of a dud of a match. Spoiler, used a legal headbutt, as you can see here, to pin Bob Armstrong. Now, part of the new championship feel is we've added at the end of all championship matches, you're going to see this pop-up come up, and every type of ending is covered. Whether the champion retains, loses, whatever, we got them all covered. Even if you have a title that's being upheld, or you're doing a tournament or whatever, we got those covered too if the match started with no champion. Those those situations, of course, are more rare than other ones, and I'm going to show you when I'm done with this. I'll show you what I mean by that, but you'll see here you get this message. All wrestlers are going to find out that beating the spoiler for the title is going to be a very tough proposition after seeing this remarkable win tonight. So that's part of the flavor that your championship matches get you. Also, there are separate defend the title charts now for a champion and a world champion. The world champion chart's a little bit more favorable to the world champion than the regular title for defended title chart is. I was thinking that it just doesn't seem fair that a TV heel champion gets the same chart that a world heel champion used. So there's a little bit same results, just renumbered on those. Now that leads into our second thing, and I'm sure I talked about this on the initial video, but I want to highlight this again. And it's the star rating. Following every match, there's a pretty complicated formula that takes into account all kinds of match factors, and I truly am not going to go into them right now. For now, let me click this out of here. You also, by the way, see the saying that was in that box right here at the end. all other wrestlers, this part. But anyway, star match, a lot of formulas are used in this. I'm not going to go into what's in there because I don't want people to try to manipulate matches, and I also don't want to get into a debate. You're going to have to trust me. It's been in there by hand for probably the last, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years maybe, where John and I scored every match we did. I also tried to gather information on what people posted. I didn't have all the information, because there's a lot of factors that go in, and I'm just going to leave it at that. The great thing is, if you don't like it, you don't agree with it, or you want to use your own, you can go right up here and turn off somewhere here the star match rating. Right now I have it on. If you want, you can just turn it off. That's up to you. I'm really amazed so far how people are really liking this feature. Not that I didn't think you'd like it, but this was one of those that was kind of, for me, I loved coming up with a system. That was the fun part for me. I just didn't know how used it would be, because I know everybody has their own theories on what makes a great match. The one thing to keep in mind when it comes to any type of rating or ranking system, it only can measure numbers. It can't measure the feel that you're having when you're watching the match on your computer screen. And I've noticed I can run a match late at night when I'm tired, and it doesn't give me the same effect as if I run that exact same match with the same exact everything that occurred if I run into the morning when I'm not as tired. So sometimes your emotional state can also affect if the match was good or bad in your eyes. Any rating formula is only going to take into account the numbers that are used to measure the match. This system goes from 0.5 up to 5 with increments of 0.5. I think I've made the comment you're not going to get a lot of 5 stars. You're not. I mean, you're going to get, some, and, every match is going to tell its own story. And again, I don't want to give away any of the formulas because I don't want you to, I want to get a 5-star match, so I'm going to do this, this, and this. That's not the point of it. It's to run your normal wrestling worlds, your cards, whatever they are, and you're going to get a match star rating. One thing I do have that I'll probably show on an upcoming video is I do have a system where you can score your whole card. The computer doesn't actually know if you don't use the card feature. It doesn't know what's the beginning and the end of a actual card, but I actually have a pretty cool system set up where you take your star rating, you take the position of the match on the card, and you take the ratings of the 2 wrestlers involved, and that will give you an overall card rating, meaning it's going to take all your star ratings and then factor in some things, and I will show that to you more than likely on another video. I will post that spreadsheet I have at the forum, and I'll also email it out to people because I think it's kind of cool. So that leads into what I think will be my last topic on this one, is we have a new feature. Again, might be cut off just a little bit, but I don't want to play with this. But if you go under match setup, under match details, if I go replay match, under match details, you'll see a new setting called set injured wrestler. Now, that's also going to be in the same, I got a spreadsheet that has 4 individual sheets, and this will be on there too. The set injured wrestler, I really like it because there's some cases during a match you're going to get an injury where it's not going to give you the specific time missed. This chart that I'm going to be emailing, posting, and probably showing you allows you, provided you have 2 10-sided dice and I think 2 6-sided dice, it allows you to determine the length of the injury, and if you want to, in the result of that chart says it's going to be a body part that was injured and you have to change. And sometimes we get those results too, or it will say, Bob Armstrong has an injured arm. He has to trade out of these holds for the next 9 days. Well, for me, I convert, okay, how many times was he going to wrestle in those 9 days? Let's say it was going to be 3 times. Well, for his next 3 matches, he has to trade out of those holds into whatever it was told to. What you can do now is, instead of following the either from that chart I'm telling you about, whether it's a post-match injury or an injury that doesn't give you a specific days, if you use that chart and it comes out that it's actually trading of holds, or the actual injury during your match says to trade holds, you now have the option of selecting, choose the wrestler that has an injury. If you select that person, like in my example, I would have to do that for Bob Armstrong for his next 3 matches. You click his name, then when you get ready to, when you click accept, an automatic adjustment is made to Bob Armstrong. I'm not going to tell you what it is. You might be able to figure it out, but you click accept, and now it's already built in to Bob Armstrong's rating, and it will put him at different levels of disadvantage. Sometimes it's not huge, other times it can be. You can also, on that same spreadsheet that I'm talking about, there's a 4th tab, and that's you can use if you're doing a one-night tournament. You basically take the stamina that a wrestler, say he wins and advances, you take his stamina that he lost for that match and you roll it on this chart. It's 20-sided dice, and there's a chance that, you know, the more stamina he has off, the better chance you have that he's going to fall under this wrestler has an injury category. Then for his next and all future matches in that tournament, you would select wrestler has an injury and you would click his name. So let's say this was a tournament and Bob Armstrong at some point, you know, had 300 points off in stamina. You would use a dice roll, and for if it came up that he did have this injury factor kick in, for all his remaining matches of that tournament, you would use that selection, and then that replicates the fact, you know, maybe he gets to that final match and he is just practically dead on his feet. If he should lose that final match to a heel, now there's always that built-in, well, Bob had 2 previous matches where he was cut and he had just taken a beating, where his opponent actually had a bye in an easy match. Of course, you know, Roddy Piper beat him in the final. You know, you kind of have that built-in angle. I love the feature. It's completely optional. You don't have to use it. You know, the injuries still come up as they normally do. I think there might be a little greater chance for them. And plus, we have that post-match injury, which is also part of that spreadsheet. So that's the final feature there. I think I'm already under 20 minutes, and I think I am going to cut it right now, except I think I can get this done in 20. I do want to show you one final thing here, create new tournament. This is the final feature I'm going to show you on this one. And I'm not going to try to, I don't know if I can. Let's see if I can kind of get this somewhat squared away. Point of this is just to simply show you this. Tournament size. I went ahead and cleaned this up real quick, but Gary added this one of the last features we added. I think you're going to really like this. Previously, the largest bracket you could have was 62. Now it's 32. I can't show it to you, but what I think I'll do is I'll put pause, and I think I'll put a quick tournament together so you can see how it can look. So give me just a second. Alright, so I went ahead and I just put all 31 big men in, and then I added somebody, I think Ole Anderson. So I got my 32 wrestlers. You see wrestlers selected. I'm going to leave this alone for now. Hit set brackets, and voila, we're going to try to do something here real quick. Show it to you. There we go. So there's your 32-man bracket. Now, you just like normal, you could hit done, and then you'd save it, name it to whatever you want. Again, I just wanted to show you the quick thing, how it looks and works. And you then, you say you're doing a 128-man tournament, you just set up 4 32-man brackets. And then as it would play out, then what I probably would do when I'd get down to my final 32, I would recreate my 32-man bracket and then redo it. Now remember, you can move guys around. So if you want to seed them a certain way, all you got to do is drag. Like if I want to take Kamala and replace it where Chris Taylor is, you'll see Kamala goes there and Taylor comes down here. So if you're seeding your tournament, you still can do that. And so what I would do is if I was doing a 128, when I got down to my final, I guess would be 8 guys in each bracket, because you'd have 4 brackets of 32. When I get to the final 8 of each one, I would just redo one more 32-man bracket, plop everybody in there, and then I would move them around, so the proper matchups are set up. But this should actually save us time when we want to do the large tournaments. We had thought about doing a 64, but we would have had to gone to 2 screens, and then you get the problem of moving wrestlers from screen to screen, and it was a real hassle, and we just elected not to do it. But I think this will be a great new feature, and I hope everybody likes it. I think with that I will end video number 2 on the, I should say, new feature video number 2. I'll end that. Our next video we're going to talk, I got several topics. A lot of them are just going to be me blabbling on, not a lot to show, but I do want to point out as many of these as I can. I appreciate, again, all the support for version 3 and for Wrestling's Finest in general. My email, if anybody ever wants to shoot me a question, is one word, lowercase, TommyV33 at att.net. That's TOMMY, the initial V as in Victor, 33 at att.net. Shoot me an email with your questions, comments, concerns, and I'll respond to you as quick as I can. Again, thanks for joining me on this video. I hope it helped you understand some more of the features. Got quite a few more to go through. And again, thank you, and have a great rest of your day. And I'm hoping to get a couple more of these done today, which is Saturday, August 15th. Thank you. So long. Tom Vogel, Wrestling's Finest PC Pro Wrestling Game.